Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
And just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo. Well, it's that time again. Here we are.
Coming in hot with the energy, Mr. David Amaya.
Very hot.
Like we're painting some happy little trees.
Happy trees.
Dig it, man.
I actually was painting crystal mountains just a couple minutes ago, though.
Well, you should try painting some crystal meth. That'll really just up the energy level.
Paint it blue and sell it as Walter White's fucking
There you go.
blue crystal meth.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good business venture.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that's like the basis for a lot of like, Chinese knockoffs and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just they do not give a shit about copyright law.
Well, not even just
buy
that.
all these t-shirts,
probably
all
in the
these
meth
hats.
world, there's probably people
Probably that
selling
too,
blue meth
yeah.
because some meth guy was watching Breaking Bad and was out of his mind thinking, well, this is great shit,
Well, how do you think, Alibaba got started? I'm sure it's just a bunch of tweakers sitting around like, well, I got this and I got this.
The pyramids were all built.
What if we just
from-
sold it all?
They got everybody. Yeah, what if they weren't like really that bad to build? Like, what if they just gave everybody drugs like meth and they just like fucking built these fucking pyramids all methed out?
I mean, that's probably. I think that's it. I think we're stumbling on this like Alex Jones level conspiracy where everything can be attributed back to that. It's like
Basically, yeah. The more the story
it's all of humanity. It's like the twacked out ape theory.
or David Icke's stuff. Have you ever listened to David Icke?
No. Is he the guy walking up and down Beach Boulevard at like 3 a.m?
Not that
Just
I. No, I don't know if that guy. I think that guy's name is like Bill or something like
Scooter.
that. Scooter.
Yeah, his name's probably Scooter.
Are you talking about the guy that rollerblades?
Actually, I think there is a guy that
rollerblades playing guitar, but I don't know. That's not who I'm talking about. Oh, that guy's cool.
No, I just made these guys up.
Yeah, we're just rambling. Anyway.
That's what we do. Oh man.
Well,
Well, speaking of scooters.
Speaking of scooters, what have you got, Phil?
Oh,
give it to
We had a great episode for you guys today.
We had a great
Emily
episode.
Fuhr from the Elixir Bars here.
Yeah.
And no, don't think about it too hard, okay? I'm really good at segues, okay? I'm the segue fucking champion. I know we're talking about scooters. Segways are a type of scooter. Oh my God, he actually did it. Did you guys hear that?
That's what happened.
He actually did it. He brought them together.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have Emily on. We kind of always, I think that we really like to have on here from time to time are people that have taken some sort of big leap, some sort of big drastic change in their life and started doing what they love. And, traveling great distances to go live somewhere else than what you're used to is always one of those things that's
The balls it takes to just up and leave everything that you're comfortable with and just go across the country and start something fresh. I respect the hell out of that.
Absolutely.
And I'm always happy to sit down and talk to somebody who's got an exciting story.
Right.
And so, we go in there under the guise of the Elixir Bar,
Right.
which we have talked about quite a bit in the last month or so. And so I feel like, people who keep up with the show are pretty well familiar with that. And so we wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper with Emily, who's kind of the last one to complete our Elixir Bar series.
Because
here.
she was too busy working at Art in the Park to kind of really jump in on the podcast. So we're kind of glad that she's not, that they're not underrepresented.
All of the slurring at the end was her handiwork.
Oh yeah.
So she did have her leave her mark on that one.
Yeah, totally. So, but yeah, she came out here with the intentions of wanting to cook, and she's into the culinary arts, and from there went to Burning Man.
Not like Walter White, but like cook.
Yeah, exactly. Not cooking the blue crystal.
Yeah.
But she went to Burning Man, and that's where she met Hunter, who we all know, and she's got some great stories to tell us. So we'll go ahead and get into that.
Yeah, we got into that. She brought her sister along with her. And, we weren't sure what to expect, but she was very
funny.
Delightful. Yeah, she livened up the place, no doubt.
She was not shy at all, and that was cool. Like, very just, jumped right into it. Because we've had people on that kind of get pretty shy. But
no, she jived, man. She jived, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Man, so let's see.
What do you got going on?
All right, well, I mean, I know we've got Abundance, and that's coming up this Saturday. And that is our boy, friend of the show, Mr. Kevin, Mr. Star Fox. That's right. He is. Do you know what time his set's at?
His set is from 10 to 11. And so it's an hour set from 10 to 11. But I got to say that this is a pretty big deal for me and all of us because, this is like Kevin being one of my really, really good friends. And this is kind of probably one of the biggest things that any of our close friends have DJ'd, I think.
This is the biggest thing that I can think of, because he is on the
Yeah.
lineup with some serious contenders,
Right, yeah.
And I told him, I mean, you guys can go back and listen to it. I told him, like, dude, if anybody out of everybody we know is going to make it, at least first, it's going to be you, dude.
Yeah.
There's no way
Yeah.
that, like, that level of creativity and inspiration that he is putting out is not going to go unnoticed. And I
Right.
am so proud
Yeah.
to say that it has.
Yeah.
And now he's opening for the Polish ambassador and a fucking crazy lineup of people.
Yep.
And we see our boy's name on that same one. I'm fucking proud.
Yeah.
I will be there. I'm excited.
I'm going to and I'm still going. So I'm busting that fucking mission because I'm going to see his set. I'm going just for his set, and then I'm driving all the way over to You Are Here out in the desert, which is another epic
That's
little festival.
Hunter's festival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
My buddy Fabio and Hunter, the Elixir Bar, will be there. And that's where I actually met Hunter. That's where I met quite a bit of people, actually. Nick Nendel and quite a few people out there.
So
it was
that's
just
going to be a pretty crazy event.
Oh yeah, especially I actually saw a couple, some ads going out on like some advertisement for something else completely random that I was looking for. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is getting out there. It's a pretty big festival
Yeah,
now.
man.
So
Well, that's awesome. Yeah,
I'm
so
looking forward to that. And
So all you good people, we'll post a link up to and we'll post a link up to the Abundance Show. That's going to be just this. Both of those start on Saturday, right?
yeah. Well, actually, I believe.
Or does he have
that,
start on
yeah,
Friday?
Hush starts on Friday now.
Okay.
So they're gonna have it an extra day longer. I'm only going for the sunrise, and the last day, the cleanup day. Everybody's like gonna be leaving.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to that.
Totally understandable.
But I will be in LA on Saturday because that is going to be sick. I
Awesome.
got to go support,
Right on. So anything else? I mean, we got Art in the Park the following weekend.
That's right. It's coming
next
up
Sunday.
the 25th.
We had to reschedule because of the rain, so it's going to be on the 25th at Peak Park in Buena Park, as it was the first 3 times. So be sure to come out, bring your family, friends. It's kid friendly, it's family friendly, it's angry grandma friendly. Hopefully you can get her on the canvas and
Bring as many angry grandmas as you know. This is like designed for them. That's actually our target market. It's angry grandma.
Yeah. If you can get the angry grandmas and grandpas of the neighborhood to come out and like enjoy the show, then we're going to be pretty smooth sailing.
Have them come protest it.
Yeah.
Nothing is better than having them come out, hold signs, picket. Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. Please come out. Don't feel that you need to have any sort of artistic ability already. We'll just let you flow with it and do whatever you want. You're going to meet people and you're going to just be inspired to have a good time.
And go ahead and check out any of the videos, whoever that brilliant editor is who's shooting and composing all these things and putting them out there on social media. I mean, that guy, he's putting in some real work. So, if you want to get a feel for how these events are, I would definitely recommend just digging around Instagram and Facebook video and just showing a lot of love. Maybe even sending some money over. Who knows?
What's his name? What was his name?
I don't remember.
I think it might have been Phil Arroyo, but who knows?
Oh, wait, was that guy?
That guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck that guy.
So yeah, check us out. Hood Rat Stuff, my Instagram, Psychedelic Lions Den. That's psychedelic_lions_den is the other account that I run. That's where you're going to probably get the most enjoyment with a lot of different artists. Really dope art. And so...
Yeah, tons of cool shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you guys can find me, myself, and I all the way over at Nobody Cares Phil on Instagram and at Phil Nobody Cares on Twitter. And my website's up, nobodycaresphil.com. So... yeah, I'm going to be generating some content for that. I've really been doing a lot of soul searching this week, trying to kind of figure out what do I want for that, because I'm hosting part of my portfolio up there, and I could fill in the rest, but I wanted it to be more than that, And so I wanted to start doing some more writing and some more kind of absurd stuff, and really kind of testing out. Doing it as like a double thing, testing out like a lot of the marketing that I do for clients, stuff like that, and just having like a good writing exercise.
Right.
I've been thinking about, if I was making stuff, what would I want to make? And I know, like, there's not a big, market for like comedy and education and what I've seen, And so there's a lot of tutorials out there. There's tutorials and how-tos and all this stuff out there. And I do like them, but a lot of them get dry, and a lot of them are they're YouTube funny. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hey guys, whoa, well,
just like super exaggerated, jump cut. And
and it's like, oh, that's all well and good, and some of those people are legitimately good, but I thought, oh, maybe I can do something like that, a little series there, because I'm preparing so many materials, because I teach so many people what I do, because I teach classes, but I also help clients and stuff like that, because usually I'm working with people who can't afford to pay me to do everything. Shit. And that's okay. And so I end up teaching them a lot of these like core concepts. And so I'm like, oh man, what if I can make like a real snarky, like, tutorial series or something like that. So I've been playing around with a lot of different ideas, mostly revolving around me kind of being an asshole. So yeah. Anyways, I'm hoping to have some stuff up there somewhat soon. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you guys know when it's really up and going.
Yeah, got to check that out for sure, because Phil literally does everything like that. All the Illustrator, Photoshop, video editing, sound engineering
for this podcast,
and fucking putting on fucking. Well, you also...
It's not just production, but I'm doing media, too.
Yeah,
so
you're doing, I
was just working
tutorials and all kinds of stuff like that. Cause
I was just working with a client, like, crafting a content marketing strategy with her, basically telling her how she can start her own podcast and blog and stuff like that.
Right.
And really get that going, and best practices and stuff like that. So it's been... I barely know what to call myself, too. It's
when you said that right now, I wanted to just jump in so bad and be like, 1 week since you looked at me. It's been fucking bare naked ladies.
Yeah, I can call myself a bare naked lady.
Yeah,
that's on my business card now.
Bare naked lady.
Stamp that shit.
Yeah, so check them out, guys.
Yes, of course, check them out, and of course, last but not least, do not forget to follow us on social media, us meaning the show, that is at Let It Bleedcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure that you are subscribing to us on however you like to get your podcasts, whatever flavor of app that you use to download all this shit. And of course, show us some love. Share it around. We appreciate it, you guys. Growing steadily every week, and we can't thank y'all enough for that.
Yeah, and as always, let it bleed. Bleed. Strong, but people think that because they see this big old presentation, this huge thing, and they think like, well, this I didn't get, this doesn't have any alcohol in it. And no, it does. It's just Malibu, and it's mixed with fucking pina colada. Like, you're not gonna taste it.
It looks huge, but at the end of the day, like in a pineapple, it's actually not that big of a drink.
It's only like about 10 ounces of liquid, and most places that like legally restaurants, I think per drink, you're only, I don't know if it's legal, but this is just the way that it goes for costs and whatever. You're only supposed to have about an ounce and a quarter to 2 ounces per drink, really. I know if you go to like dive bars or whatever, then they don't really give a shit. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
That's like legally.
But that's usually what it is, exactly. And so you give it out to these people, and they always come back and they complain, and then you got to remake it.
Nice.
Oh, in your wine.
The menage a trois.
Where it was.
Menage a trois.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, but so you go and you remake this drink for them, and they this is the best part though. This is where you start to perform those social experiments. Is they say, oh, there's no alcohol in this drink, and you're like, I know there's alcohol because I poured it. I made that. I know exactly that there's alcohol in it.
Me.
Yeah, no, or not. They didn't even watch you. No, it's because like in a restaurant you have to make it for tables and stuff too. So what you do is like, okay, you make the drink again, no alcohol. And you just put a straw in there where you had put a little bit of rum on the top of it, and that's it. And then you just give it back to them, and oh, this is so much better. This is much better.
People are very
like, what the fuck?
Like okay.
It was crazy. Like, the bartending experience it's a whole thing, and that's why I really like the Elixir Bar, because even with because for me as a bartender, I just drank all the time behind the bar. Yeah. So if you're drinking behind the bar, but you're drinking non-alcoholic drinks...
I was going to say, that's me. I'm just drinking sauce behind the bar like all day.
Because undeniably, like, it makes you feel good. Like, I've been doing it. I've been telling people that are like, they think I'm crazy when I tell them, like, oh, you know, I'm telling them about kava, I'm telling them about sass, and they're just like,
oh gosh, you got wine glasses?
This is so nice.
This is
Classy.
some fancy. Well,
Wow.
I mean, we have to sort of
the
compete.
service, Jesus Christ.
We have to compete with Club 33. You know, since you guys just went there
Yo,
yesterday.
I got a Club 33 pin on my jacket there.
There you go.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
snap.
Yeah,
oh,
right?
snap.
So I got to go actually like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were like talking with my uncle like all day, and he was like, "Oh, like we're not gonna be able to go. We're not gonna be able to go." And like me and my uncle were like on this whole thing. Like we knew we were gonna surprise him.
I know what the fuck was going on. I was completely.
They just completely so they like go up to the door, and like I was like, "I'm just gonna see if we have a reservation." And like he rings the doorbell,
and I'm just laughing, you know.
Did you
just,
know what Club 33 was?
I knew what it was because she went there, and I was like sad that he couldn't get us a reservation or whatever. But I was like, it's whatever, like it's fine. But then like he rings the doorbell, and he's like, reservation for Fuhr, and then they're like, oh yes, come right in, and they open the door, and I literally was like, what the fuck is going on? What is happening? What is going on? And like the entire time my face is just like, because I'm trying to look normal because there's like people in there and they're like doing their job and I don't want to be like,
and I like want to pull out my phone the whole time to like video her reaction when she finds out, but I'm like, she'll know. She'll know.
And I like kept being like, this is just all a joke. All of these people are in on this. They're gonna kick us out in a few seconds. And then like we
it's
go
a pretty
in.
Extravagant joke.
Exactly,
like,
right? I don't know
it
what I
probably
thought.
cost more money and resources than to just get in.
They finally like take us into the courtyard and the woman's like, here, have some herbal tea. Do you want a warm towel? And right when they were like, do you want a warm towel? I was like, oh shit, this is happening.
Like at the beginning, before you ordered anything, they asked you if you wanted a warm towel. Wow.
Yeah, so you go like in the courtyard and then they like wait and like they bring you upstairs.
So
like, this whole thing.
We didn't take the warm towel though.
That
That was the thing. We should have taken it, but we didn't. We didn't.
Apparently, back in the day, I have gone at least 2 or 3 times with my mom, and because she works corporate in a booth bank and stuff, and so like they have an account and they would go and apparently I went, but I didn't know that. I didn't know what the fuck it was. And I ended up working.
How old were you?
I really little apparently, and because I feel like I have a pretty good memory, and that just goes to show like young kids don't really give a shit about any formal places. You know, we don't give they don't give a fuck about it. To a young kid, it's probably the worst place in the world to be because you can't do anything that you want to fucking do. Like you want like I want to go to the Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean's right there. Like what the fuck?
You're like, why am I here? Why am I here for 4 hours
exactly.
for dinner?
Exactly. So, but I ended up working at Disneyland, and I was in the food industry, and so they would often, because Disneyland is like that, you know, they just have so many people working for them and so many people working at different restaurants that if somebody calls out from a certain job, they have other people to replace them. And when I went to work one day, they were just like, oh, by the way, they need people to work at Club 33. Would you go do it? And I'm like, all right, cool. And I, at the time, was also working in the bookstore at my school when the 2 like ladies that I worked with, like it was just me and these 2 older ladies. And they were like the one was obsessed with Club 33. She was just like, so like I was just like, hell yeah, like she's gonna like lose her shit. I'm gonna tell her about this and rub it in her face because I don't give a fuck, but she loves it, you know. So I go and it was weird because I didn't get to see anything of what you guys saw. Like the whole dining area or anything like that. I was literally a steward, so that's basically a fancy term for the the dishwasher.
But you can't see it?
No,
I go. Wouldn't let you out there.
I go from a back. No, I go from a back end. No, they don't want it. They don't want anybody to see us. So I go from the back end.
It's beautiful.
This is one of our finest wines from the year 2017.
From Rite Aid.
The proper term is voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Would you go to bed with me tonight? And somebody else as well. That's the catchphrase on the back of it. Yeah. Wait, am I not part of this menage a trois thing here?
Be part.
This is I got the Tito's, the Hurricane,
I want this shirt.
and the Tito's, the Hurricane, and the red wine because I've read.
I'm doing this because I know I'm setting you up for absolute disaster.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna be crashing on the couch, waking up at like 7:30 tomorrow. Like, what did I do? Driving all the way back to Garden Grove and then driving back to Christmas.
World tomorrow.
It's happened here many a time. Back to the
Wait,
story
I
though.
can't believe they wouldn't like you weren't able to see it. Like you
No.
wouldn't like did you
No,
go to
no,
rain
They
it?
didn't even show you like a picture.
No,
They were like,
okay.
so this is what you're cleaning.
So
just letting you
so
know.
you guys don't understand how like Disney. The reason why they're so good for the people experiencing it is because they're so fucking strict in every other aspect for the people that work there. And it's really like you have to be a certain type of person to really work long term at Disney. Like there's a certain I couldn't do it. I worked there for 3 months and it felt like 3 years.
I'm sure.
Not gonna say that I didn't enjoy it and that I didn't have perks, but when I was there, it was like the room that I was working in, the kitchen area in itself was literally probably no bigger than this, if not even a little smaller. I'm not even joking. Like my dishwashing station was like the size of from where I am in this like tiny little corner, and then there was fucking the few chefs, and they were dope. They made us like some filet mignon. It was really tasty, and they were cool. It was way more free in that aspect than the other places because it's kind of like 1984 up in the rest of it. It's like they're just watching the fuck out of you.
Though.
Yeah,
like, even being there, like we're like okay.
Oh,
No,
dude.
I mean we saw like the Frozen live show, which was the best piece of theater I've seen in a long time, and I'm a theater major, so I see like a lot of fucking theater.
Yeah.
And like we just kept being like, these people do this show like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I know a girl who's the Gamala from is that her name from no, not Gamala. What's it? Was it Gamara?
Oh, Gamora.
Gamora. Sorry, Gamala. Gamora. I'm not big on names as we've already established many times, but I know you like Guardians of the Galaxy, and she's Gamora, and she's Jasmine and several other people, and she's telling me all this stuff too. Like it's insane. Like the stuff that they go through for fucking behind the stage. But yeah, so I was there, and they didn't let us go and check it out, and it's like, all right, yeah, it was just weird because I worked there a few times and I took home a couple like napkins and stuff, and
we stole napkins from the bathroom.
The lady.
Wait, the first time I was there, I just stole like everything.
Yeah, take that.
I legitimately took pictures of it. Okay, so apparently you're not allowed to take pictures of the bathroom anymore. You're not allowed to take videos of
You
the
took
bathroom.
napkins and pictures?
I had pictures of
fuck.
every meal. Like when I first went there the first time, I had pictures of every meal. I have a video like going to the bathroom, which is apparently like illegal to have now. Like that's how crazy that you can't take a video.
But how do they fucking know you're taking a video in the bathroom?
Exactly.
I mean, like
It's a video of you going to the bathroom. I mean, that's a little weird.
Do
but,
they check your
I
phone
mean,
at the door? It's like some secret society shit, like some eyes
honestly,
wide
they
shut
might,
stuff.
though.
What if they handed out masks before you go in there? They're just like, here, where are these masks?
They told me I had this much of my stomach hanging out, and they were like, "No, we can't have that."
Did they say? What did they say? They said like
They tried to get
somebody
me
wasn't okay with it.
They tried to give me a napkin to put
Yeah,
on
they
my stomach,
like
and
it
I
was like
it's
a-
okay. I was like, I can pull it down. I can
And the woman
They'll
was
try to
just
tell
like,
you Disney's
okay.
not okay with it because he knows the fuck you guys are going there.
And I
And
was
then
like-
you stole that fucking napkin.
stole the napkin.
Yeah.
They trusted you.
Stole it.
And they had the mini mouthwash in the bathroom. Delightful. Like how do they know that I needed that?
Like the women's bathroom, it had a chase. Like it was like.
No, we
like-
definitely took videos and photos in there, like no doubt about it. But
And,
like
and apparently you can't put any pictures.
You can't
now
put
on
anything
social
on
media,
social media.
Or the person who has the membership who let you go could have it revoked if they find out, which is like
Damn.
pretty crazy because that's a $30,000 membership that they could lose.
But there's also like a 10-year waiting list or some shit like that, right? It's like
somebody has to
ridiculous.
die.
Yeah.
It's insane.
no joke.
Like you have to
No
know
joke.
the person that died and get their membership.
But like I'm gonna get that membership, that's for sure. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
The stress
I feel
that-
like we're just drafting a screenplay right now.
Yeah.
And I'm so into it.
I honestly just know how to get into that spot just because of working there because we don't enter the same way that you guys entered.
Well,
It
yeah,
was
you
like
can't
through
see it. So
yeah, so it was like you know.
go through a secret back door.
And that was one of the things that when working at Disney was like really I couldn't decide whether it was cool or it was just like a big time like dream killer in the sense of like going through all the back areas underground of where Pirates
just
of the Caribbean,
concrete.
like everything, like all like the tunnels of like Pirates of the Caribbean and shit, like the stuff that you're not supposed to go to. So it, in a sense, it kills the magic.
Yeah.
No,
You know, it kills
Yeah.
the magic. But it was also kind of cool because it's like I know this and nobody else does. But
Did you
it's
get like free passes?
well, I work there.
Yeah, so you could go whenever.
I can go. Well, you know, it's probably changed a lot since then, as it does change every so often, and they've gotten stricter. And I just heard today that they no longer do re-entry stamps, but it's a photo. Like
Yeah.
I guess your photo instead.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, we had to keep
Yeah.
standing in the line to go
Yeah.
back in. Like there
Which
wasn't
was quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like we kept going back and forth, and we'd have to stand in like like a 15 to 20 minute line to get back in, and we were like, okay.
I think it was like whatever.
Like, you could
but
just stamp our hand, and we could just go back in.
I haven't been in at least a couple years now, but and I'll say this: like I love it. I love Disney. And I love going back every time I do. But every time I go, even no matter how much changes, it's still the same thing.
Yeah, it's still
the
yeah,
same exact
I
thing.
don't get it, and I feel like I'm the minority opinion in this thing, but I don't get it. I went to Disneyland when I was a kid. Yeah. And then, like 4 years ago, my ex-girlfriend bought me a pass, and I realized what a gigantic waste of time and money to spend $1,000 to go to the same fucking place every day where you're spending $400 more.
If we didn't have our tickets paid for, we wouldn't have gone.
Yeah, no.
In all honesty, that sounds terrible.
Truthfully, like this entire trip, I wouldn't have done anything unless it was paid for. Like that's all I've been doing this entire trip is just being like, oh shit, we got this, cool, yeah.
Because that is not the thing you would suggest to somebody who's coming here and only has 3 or 4 days to spend here.
No,
my teacher actually was the first one who really put that kind of into our heads in high school. Like as a freshman, he was like, I want you to write, an essay on. If somebody was to come visit you and you were to give them the California experience for one day, you had one day to show them around and do everything, what would you do? And he's like, but you cannot say Disneyland because if you say fucking Disneyland, like you're gonna lose automatically.
I would call Patrick
for everybody because like I mean,
biplane.
he had to say that though. He had to say that because everybody would say, well, I take them to Disneyland because that's like the fucking thing you do.
Yeah.
Thing you fucking do. Yeah. Well, I mean, but like as honestly, as a freshman in high school, what the fuck do you know? Like, you don't know all these things. You don't know shit. You're like, well, Disneyland is where white people come here for, and it is white people come here.
Yeah.
For.
Yeah.
It's weird because I live right down the street from it, and you're like, this is not like this. Like to think that this is one of the prime destinations in the world.
It's crazy that like Walt Disney made that happen.
Yes,
and it's crazy
that people would rather go to a place that looks like a different country than to go to that country.
Well, because it is a different world.
That's crazy.
It is a different world.
But because it's safe there.
Right.
But like truthfully though, Toontown is worth all of it. I mean, let's be real here.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite places.
I touched everything in Toontown.
I got mugged in Toontown.
I like it because nobody goes to Toontown.
It's the best.
Nobody goes to Toontown, but you pull on the fucking bars, you pull on the wires, you throw the balls at each other.
It's adorable.
Roger Rabbit's fucking ride. It's crazy.
The houses, everything's a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be. Like just a tiny little bit bigger than it's supposed to be.
Toontown, and
it's a cartoon.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And that's what my job is. I sell fucking animation fine art for a living, and so I'm just like fascinated by cartoons in every aspect. But honestly, like everything about Disneyland though, like Disney it's one of those things where it's like, yes, there are so many corporate fucking bullshit things that you can easily say that like this is everything I hate about the world in one aspect, but God, I love the Jungle Book. And I love,
it's like they do a good job. It's like you
can't,
it's really cool.
Because
where else can you go though and hate on the entire world?
Right.
Then have to just jump on a small world and just say racist shit about every country that you go by.
Yo, it's a small world. It's a little problematic.
Got something
like
for
it's
everyone.
a problem. It's a problem. I haven't been on that in a while, but we were going through it and I said, oh. All right, we're playing into every stereotype. Okay, all right, okay.
I just watched the fucking Temple of Doom the other day, and oh my God, that is the most racist fucking fucking racially inaccurate fucking movie of all time. Like it's so bad, and that came after Raiders of the fucking Lost Ark.
You just don't realize shit when you're young and you watch things.
Yeah, you're
and
just
then
like,
you
no,
watch
that's the way
now.
it is. Like, yeah. And then you see the comments that people are talking about, because I just thought, I wonder what people are saying about this movie. So I go look it up, and like people are just going hating on it. They're talking all this shit, and somebody's like, why would you say that? It's a great American movie. It's a great American movie. Yeah, it's nothing about America. It's insane. Absolutely insane.
There's so much shit you can go back and look at. And you're like, oh, wow, we were fucked up. We were not the good guys.
Everybody thought this was fine.
I'm sorry, but Chuck Jones, like, Looney Tunes had some fucked up shit.
See, that's the thing.
We watched a Nazi one the other day where Daffy Duck gets dropped into Nazi Germany and fucking...
Not great.
Well, and that's the thing. I will defend and argue up until a certain point with that, though, that people in general... I feel like don't have enough of a sense to say, well, duh, this is a fucking cartoon. And it's not to say that modern day cartoons aren't worse in their own way. It's just that they don't show guns and violence. That's the only thing that I've noticed so far from it. Other than the racist thing from the Michigan J. Frog, which people are talking about. I never ever fucking knew that at all. Like I never ever once thought about that. So I guess for the people that understood the significance of the song or whatever, I don't know. I mean, personally, I'm not going to touch that. That's not my thing. That's not where I'm going from.
We'll
But like
tap it
all the other stuff, people are like, oh, this is
but-
so violent, and I'm like, you're watching stuff where there's so much sexual innuendo with these kids. Like
It's like crazy to go back at like Disney movies. And you're like, this is pure, and then
Yeah.
like, wow, okay.
Well, I never watched Roadrunner and Coyote and thought like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a gun and like fucking shoot a fucking Roadrunner. Like that's not. It's a cartoon, goddammit.
my
Like
first thought.
even as a kid, I knew that. Like I knew that it was a cartoon. Like that's something that my parents taught me. Like from a young age as a kid, this is a cartoon. Like
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
go do
It's
this
not
sort
real.
of thing. And so I don't know. It's just it's a distortion of like.
And that's all Disney is. It's like it makes you feel things. Like the
Yeah, it
world
makes
of
you-
color. Like,
the world
oh
of
my
color.
God.
Truthfully,
It's a
I
great
cried
show.
at Disney more than I've cried in the past year.
Right.
Like just in that one day, they just sent me on an emotional roller coaster.
Nostalgia
because the
has
movies,
that sense.
The movies
Yeah.
just get you, and
Yeah.
they like get you at a point of like just very like truthful realness
When
of
you
just like.
show Simba's
I waited 3
Yeah, Simba's
hours in
father
line for the
dying,
emotional roller
like-
coaster, and honestly, I was a little bit underwhelmed for that. I was
Wait,
like,
wait,
fuck
what?
this line. I said I waited 3 hours in line for the emotional roller coaster, and I was
You're
just
like,
a little bit. I was like, this wasn't worth
3
it. I should have got
hours
the
is a
fast
long
pass.
time.
It's just,
Truthfully,
okay,
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of factors that
Yeah.
go into that, though. There's a lot of things that can play into that, depending on how crowded it is, what day of the week you go,
True. Like,
how long
honestly,
you have to
we
wait.
lucked out.
Yeah,
Did
we
you
had
have your
fast
churro yet?
passes.
Did you have your churro? If you did not have your churro, you
not have a
probably are going to
churro.
be fucking pissed off. You need to have your churro.
We truthfully got lucky, and we had fast passes.
Yeah,
like that's
and
what
it
it was.
was like-
We just kept getting shit. Like the world of color, we were gonna be like standing kind of in the back, and
you have
because
to-
we were
you have to
nice.
get passes
Yeah,
for World of
because
Color,
yeah,
which is crazy.
and like we were
Like-
nice to this one woman because we were asking her like, oh, how do you get in there? What's going on? And we were
Yeah.
nice to her. So then when it like started, she was like, oh, you got there's some extra seats. You guys can come in and sit down. So then we got lucky and we got to sit down and watch World of Color, and it was great. But like,
White privilege
yeah,
strikes again.
I
man.
know, right? Exactly.
like for real.
But-
Very white people there in Disney, like trying their best.
Yeah.
Well,
they're like,
hey,
they're like,
know.
you can. Oh, you forgot to get your ticket. You can come sit here. Like that's how Disney is, and that's
Yeah.
wrong.
Especially Club 33. Let's be real
I mean,
here.
oh, yeah.
It's just
They weren't trying to do that for me when I was like, oh, I can't get a spot to watch Fantasia. Not
like,
even
oh,
in like
well,
World
that
of Color.
sucks.
We're watching the old school one, which I do prefer.
See,
little
I had
more.
to fake juvenile arthritis and then get in through the handicap section when I wanted a fast pass back in the day.
Oh, we were just like, we're kind of cute. Let us in. Thanks. Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Wrong.
I am kind of mad though because I just found out yesterday that they're actually taking off all the back part of that roundabout where the big steamboat goes through and fucking Mark Twain's island or not Mark Twain, Tom Sawyer's
Tom
island,
Sawyer's,
and they're putting some
Yeah.
like Star Wars land. Over
Oh,
that
yeah,
kind
we
of
were
way.
seeing the construction for that. Yeah.
Somebody was telling me that. I'm like, that. I mean, I get it. Like, you got to stay relevant with. The
I mean,
times
they're
and-
going to make more money.
Like, they
it's
turn-
Still a,
yeah.
it's
Sorry,
still
they
a-
turn
I'm
Swiss
sorry,
Family
who still
Robinson.
cares about
Operation.
Mr. Toad right now? Like these
Dude,
Gen
shut
Z-
your mouth! God damn it! I'm a nostalgic
You're not the
person.
demographic.
I
It's
like-
Gen
It's
Z
like
kids.
I don't even know Mr. Toad. Like I don't even know that.
I don't think I've ever been on that ride. I'm gonna be honest.
I've never
Mr.
been on
Toad's
that
Wild Ride is the most underrated ride of all time at Disneyland. It was so.
Well,
good.
Disney realized there's not much like money in like '90s kids
Of
like having
course,
nostalgia.
of
They're like, no,
course,
we
of
gotta
course.
keep.
I mean,
it
I went
updated.
at Alice in Wonderland.
I mean, I'm a
gonna be
90s kid, but I'm a 97 kid, so like I was not like,
were, like,
making memories in the 90s. Let's
Right,
be real
yeah,
here.
right,
So
right.
Like 90s.
You're
being like, I really
you're like
was-
me. You're literally me 10 years prior because I was
Yeah.
at 87, but I like 80s. Like no. Like
yeah, but in the 90s you were like, oh,
Like,
okay.
it's like you
this
talking to me
is
about
my
Ren and
jam.
Stimpy,
Yeah.
Rocko's Modern Life. I got that shit on lock. So you guys, anyways, came from a different state. You from New York or from another state?
So we're like an hour outside of Philly. So I
Oh,
went
okay.
to school in Philly. Melissa's going to school in Philadelphia right now. She's going to Temple for theater.
Yep.
And after school, I moved to New York. So I lived in New York for 3 years before moving here in July. And I moved to Venice when I was
It's so,
22.
dude, that's so crazy to me. It's so mind-boggling because, like, like I feel as though you're so comfortable in your own skin down here, which I feel like it takes a lot of people quite a while to get used to being down here. Like to say that
I
you
get
haven't
that.
even been here for a year,
I feel
and
like
you've
it's
already
'cause
done
I came from
so
New
many.
York, though. Like,
Yeah, but
I
okay,
feel like
so
that, like, you're like, you have to be comfortable in your own skin to live in New York.
so okay, you obviously had this person that took you to Disneyland, and they got you guys in, and you.
My lovely uncle.
Yes.
You're all of the uncle. So you've had somebody over
Yeah.
here that you've come back and forth.
Yeah, we've definitely vacationed here when we could.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
That's definitely.
So
been...
you kind of knew what to expect a little bit. You
A
had an
little,
idea.
yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Like
never,
he
like-
lives in Orange County,
Yeah.
so we knew
kind of
Orange
County. That's what
we
we
didn't
knew.
really know LA. Like we
Yeah.
had like visited Venice, like done like the touristy things, but
Like
not...
what you do on a family vacation.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
pretty
to be
much
honest
what
with you, I still don't know LA. I know LA, but I don't know LA. I mean, I don't really even know all these places in Orange County. Like I know
it's
them
so
as much as
spread
I
out.
don't. Yeah, it is spread out. It's very different, and you can. Anything can happen when you're out there.
No,
That's the point.
It's true, that,
Anything can
especially
fucking
because
happen.
it's more spread out. Like literally anything could happen.
Yeah.
Like
LA's a fucking. People don't realize how. I think that like LA in in so many ways is like its own province and like so many other places.
Yeah,
Like it's a small part of California, but it's fucking huge in
It's
comparison.
huge.
Because when you go I'm looking at this thing over here where I don't know, this like Leaning Tower of Pisa looking thing on the screen over here, and I'm thinking of like when I've gone to Italy, like all these different places, all these cities, they're all very centralized and they have all these like public transportation that takes you all these places, and like you can do a lot of it in a day. LA, you can't. If you come
No,
here
it's
without a
so
car,
different.
you're fucked. you're
Which is
you're gonna
so
be paying
weird
a
compared
lot.
to like
So
New
weird.
York and Philadelphia.
Right.
Like
So
this is like
different.
a really weird place for me. Like very, very weird.
There's
so
like no like
drastically
they
different.
intentionally the people who developed the city were like, no, we're gonna just take
Yeah.
this money from all these auto companies and not create any sort of fucking public transportation or anything because we just
Yeah, well, I was just like learning a whole bunch about this recently, and that there's so many zoning codes and laws in LA that are about zoning for like you need to have like a certain amount of parking spaces per like the occupancy rate, and so that's like, and you can't build high occupancy buildings in most of LA, and so they have to.
earthquakes, right?
Yeah, I think it's an earthquake thing. Plus, it's like I think it's an auto industry like lobbying thing that kind of got in there like in the 60s and like has just persisted since then.
Yeah.
And so many of the problems I was like this this podcast I was listening to was and shout out to Left Coast, they run a great show over there, and I was really like, whoa, so much of it is about like it has like all the rules that are about making things better for cars in LA make things shitty for people in LA,
Yeah.
and it's so hard to like fight back against that inertia. And I wish I had all that information right in front of me so I could like really make the argument, but that just blew my mind.
Well, it's a pure example of just like greed at its finest because they were thinking about themselves in the moment and like because there's no way that they foresaw it to be the way that it is now. Where like okay, the solution. Well, let's expand the freeway by a lane or two. That's going to take 6 or 7 years to get that finished, and it's still not going to do a goddamn thing because by that time, there's going to be
Everybody
fucking
else.
thousands more cars on the road. There are probably literally like 5 cars per every person
It's true.
that
Like
exists in the fucking in the country. Like,
That's
it's
wow.
insane.
when I like moved to Orange County, so I lived in Venice technically for 2 months, and then I moved to Orange County with my uncle to save money, and I got a car, and like literally I hadn't had a car in like 3.5 years, and I was like, this is so weird. I was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah. It's just cars just aren't normal in New York and Philadelphia. They're
No.
just not normal.
Because you can get around so
You can
easily
get around-
other way, and
Yeah.
it's not like weird. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you taking like the subway is normal.
But it
Really
is
normal. Like everybody takes the subway.
It's
like,
weird
that's-
in a
That's it.
sense though, because not weird. Not saying that it's better or worse, but
Yeah.
it's just different because we're used to having our car. It's our car.
Exactly.
Our stuff's in it. Because when we go somewhere,
Yeah.
we want our stuff to be in it with us. Like we're not just going for like the brief minute or whatever. We're like, if you go to my car right now, it's like,
Don't do it.
Oh,
Don't
that's
do it.
how my
Don't
car
do
is
because
too. Like,
I'm telling you, I probably maybe since
could
all
live
of the
out
art in
my
the
car
parks
easily.
cleaned my car at one time, like just to make room for some shit. But it's like there's just it's like stockpiled with shit in
Yeah.
there just to do that stuff. But that's what I'm saying is like we're constantly moving around with stuff in our cars, so it's like we to just get up and go and make sure that we have it. And like if I go somewhere far.
yeah.
And I'm gonna be like, okay, I have to get back to where I gotta go. Then I'm gonna take you Uber all the way back. It's like, no, I want my car so that I can go here and I have my stuff with me and I can do whatever I want and you just keep
Yeah.
going and going and going
Very
and
true.
do this because it's so spread out. That's what I mean. Is like maybe geographically it's smaller or shorter in distance
Yeah,
from
I mean-
places because you guys are going from state to state in like an hour, where it's like I can't even get to fucking Temecula in an hour.
No,
Like,
it's
what
true.
the fuck?
And even like New York, like if you take the subway, that's going to be faster than you taking a taxi or
Oh,
an
yeah.
Uber any day.
Right.
And that's why people do it. And I mean, in Philadelphia, like the subway's a little bit.
It's
sketchy.
a little sketchy.
It's a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little sketchy. But like pretty
still
much
works.
Yeah, it still works,
good.
and it gets you where you're supposed to go. But like, it's truthfully like not like everybody. The majority of people take it. The majority of people are using it, and like if you're not, you're taking an Uber, which isn't like which is like a little bit different and takes a little bit longer, but like. I guess that gives you the comfort of like a car.
Yeah.
But
honestly, Uber is one of the greatest things though that have happened. I don't use it as much as I should, but that's just because I usually don't really party as hard as I used to. But like, it's the greatest thing because you don't have to wait.
This is
taxi.
public, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
It's all the DUI and.
No. I'm just saying I don't like party or like
Yeah.
do anything like to where I would need to. But like I'm just saying like you know. It's so much easier for people to go and if they're drunk to, you know, get somebody to drive them wherever they need to go when they need to.
And that's why I love the subway. Because I could just get on the subway
And then
go.
you don't have to
I never had to worry about a car. I was like, I don't even own a car.
And you don't have to worry about like some man like picking you up, judging you because you're drunk as fuck. You can just get on the subway and pass out in a seat and then wake up and be like, oh.
Really?
only have to
I
walk
would
that
think
long.
I would. Well, see,
Oh shit, I have to go back for. But it's okay. I don't have to
It's
pay
fine.
again. I can just get off and go back on.
but see,
Exactly.
okay, but that's where there's like a misconception on this end because I would automatically assume the complete opposite of that. Yeah.
Well, I can get that. Knowing,
because
LA
of the
public
fact that
transport.
like with at least Uber like it's documented on your phone like you got in this car with this person who did this where on the subway it's
you're
like
fine.
you're going there you
That's
go
not how. I
You're
mean, especially in
fine.
Philly, like it's just like you're fine.
He's like
you'll
building a
get
case over
there.
here. He's like making sure there's documentation and evidence following your whole.
I don't like evidence. I like to wake up in the morning and try to figure it out throughout my day about what I do. I don't want to look through my email and be like, oh, Greg drove me at 4:49. Cool.
You don't want to, but you could be like that random ass fucking dude that was scratching his belly. Anytime I think of public transportation like that, I think of this dude when I was in London at the time of the last Olympics, not the last Olympics, but has it been? No, it's probably. Did we just have a Summer Olympics?
just
We just had a winter. We're in the middle of a Winter Olympics. I think
alright.
it just ended.
But that
Yeah.
wasn't okay. So what was the last Summer Olympics?
This shows how much people give a shit about the Olympics.
True.
But anyways,
True. The Summer Olympics in London.
2 years ago.
When I was it was like at least 5 years ago.
No, it was.
I went to Europe like 5 years ago.
Oh, you were there. So was that 6 then?
It was 2000 and fuck, I don't even remember.
Oh, 2000. It was 2000 and fuck. Okay.
2000 and fuck.
I remember those years.
So anybody
I don't
listening,
remember
the London Olympics was when I was out there, and there was this dude that was just out there with his fucking pants unfucking buckled, pants just like almost like down right here, but not like showing anything. He's just like gut hanging over his fucking thing, just like this is like I'm like. This is the stuff that people in New York and other places
I've seen
probably
some crazy
see. Like,
shit.
Was he a curling athlete?
You've seen some
no,
crazy
he was.
shit.
He was
Yeah.
not nothing at all. He was just a dude that was just out there, and I'm like, wow, this is what goes on in the public transportation world, probably because you've got like people just
No,
chilling here.
people like piss and shit in between
No, it's
cars.
true. I've
There's-
seen two girls shit on the subway. Like,
Yeah,
literally
they're-
just like normal girls, like not like
Just like a girl you would expect to just be going to work. I mean,
Right.
I mean, I guess if
There's
you're
weird things that go on.
if you're at a point where you're like, well, nobody's gonna believe it was us. Like, but yeah, I don't mind that. You know, I blame farts on the dog too. Like, why not?
Like, just go for it. Like, you have 20 minutes, you can't get out of the car. I don't know. Like,
I mean, what would I do? Probably the same thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never been in that situation with me.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Well,
But
so
Subway's pretty crazy.
we
But
talked
also
about
very convenient.
we talked about
Have you
it.
ever been to New York?
No, we talked about this. See, this is now.
We did
Now,
talk- oh my
no,
God, we did
now,
talk
now,
about
now,
this.
now, I don't feel bad because I was about to just say how I feel bad that like a couple weeks ago, or was it over a week ago when I got my car towed that weekend, which was a
about
great.
that.
No, it was a great night. It was a great night.
It was a
And
good night.
To be
But,
honest with you,
like,
I
you know-
wasn't even mad. I wasn't even mad the next day. I was like, this is sometimes.
happy that,
Sometimes
like,
the universe
both
has to
are-
bill collect from you. It's just like sometimes the universe just says, hey,
Comes in
like,
clutch.
yeah, you've done a lot of minor fucked up shit, not really fucked up shit, but a little bit of minor fucked up shit that you're just gonna have to take some of this shit. And it was
Think
whatever.
You could have got out of that, though.
No. You know what? I'm not that type of person. I can't do that. And I tried.
I love getting out of
To be
shit.
honest, me and Hunter and I were parked in a Starbucks
Yeah.
parking spot
Yeah.
behind Cindy's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were parked there.
And I parked
David
behind
came
them.
in and parked behind.
Okay.
And he got his car towed, which isn't really fair.
Right.
In the realm.
But you know what? I took responsibility because of the fact that I didn't even. Here's the thing is,
I was Puerto Rican.
But here's the thing is, I didn't even look. I didn't even go and look for myself to see where I parked. I just took his word for it. And guess what?
Don't
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter.
Hunter.
It doesn't matter who it is. I'm old enough now. I've been through enough things to know that I should have gone and looked at every fucking sign and every corner and every curve.
Especially a Starbucks
And
sign.
and exactly, and that's the thing.
They're
It
trying to
ironically,
trick you.
it ironically
Don't look
was a
at the mermaid,
Starbucks. It was a fucking Starbucks sign, and this bitch left a note in my car. She left a note in my car, and I still have it. Actually, I saved it because I thought about being.
framed it?
I thought about being avant-garde as
Right now.
fucking framing. This
Oh
thing.
shit!
Just like
Check the show notes because we're posting this.
yeah. So she was like, it said, she's like, this is a Starbucks. She said, this is not public parking. She like emphasized the not, and she's like, and she wrote this
italicized
note.
it.
Yeah, she wrote this note, and it was like 7 a.m. She's like, you will be towed, and I'm like,
You will, capital
yeah, you
W-I-L.
will be
Ooh,
towed.
the dang
Mind you,
Starbucks
we.
spot.
She took the time to write it on
Yeah.
both of our cars.
Yeah,
Like, that's
she all of our cars, and so mind you, Cindy
Venice, man.
Cindy wakes up because she's got to go to work or something, and she's like taking
I
a
don't
shower.
think she had to go to work. I think she just got up.
She just
Like,
got up.
She was just that good. She knew.
yeah. So she got up. She took a shower, and she goes, "Hunter, you got to move your car." And I just remember being like
Cindy
kind
wrote the
of
letter.
freezing cold all night because it was fucking cold.
It was really
And I was like, I woke up and I was like, "Fuck!" And I'm like, I go to and I see my car's gone, and I'm just like, "Great." And I was like, not freaking out. I'm like,
were
okay,
very
you know.
calm.
I was just like, you know, this is what happens, and luckily I have a good friend like Amber. Shout out to Amber for fucking being the homie that came
Yes.
out because she lived right down the street and she
I
fucking.
didn't know she lived on the
So yeah, that was one of the
I
cool.
was just like, she's just hanging out here.
No, so
She's just been waiting.
so
for
this is the
something to
thing
go
is
down.
we intended to park at her house and Uber
Oh
over.
my god.
But I said, nah, Hunter said I got a spot. We're gonna go and do it. So I go and park
Quote,
behind him.
unquote, Hunter
But
said.
like I said, I didn't check that, and we had such a great time. It was a fucking amazing time, and we fell asleep. And this whole thing happened, and you know, she came, she got me out of it, and helped me out. She got me there, and yeah, it is what it is. And I'm
You called the people though, and they were like, "No, we don't have your car." Like,
well,
did happen?
that was because the sign on the wall that Cindy said she posted just for shits and giggles was not the real sign.
Oh, okay.
So I called the Starbucks people and they said, yeah, we have your car. But I was shitting my pants for a second thinking it got stolen because her response to when I was like, fuck, like they said it might be stolen. She's like, it is Venice Beach. I'm like,
It is
shit.
Venice Beach.
I was like, no,
what
no.
you say.
The biggest
Oh
thing
my
for me
God.
was because I have so much shit in my car that is like literally my computer for work,
Wrap it
like
in a
literally
wrap.
like everything that like is like
Wait,
like
why?
Like
It's
I would.
such a bad idea.
It's because that's what I do.
I feel like your father right now. Like, why
Philip,
would you do that?
We're not talking
Should not
about
keep
that
your
right now.
computer in the car.
This is well.
Gonna
This
be
is a
honest.
work computer.
Why do you keep nice things in the car?
This was a work computer
No
because I
computer,
came from work.
no
I
camera.
literally came from work. I came from work. I had my computer with me, and it was in the car, and it was like not thinking that it was going to be a problem. Anyways, whatever. Long story short, we talked about all of this stuff, and I'm going to redirect this back to you and where you came from because we talked about
Yes.
what brought you out here in the first place.
I just wanted to change. I was tired of the corporate world, honestly. Not that I was tired of
you
like
got
my.
that. You got
not
away from
I
that
was,
out here. Like what the fuck?
Like honestly, I did though. Like I don't have a corporate job now, so I did get away from it. But New York, I mean, New York City is very corporate. Like to live in New York and not have a corporate job would be very difficult. And I mean, I guess you could start your own business, but like to pay rent and to live in,
I've heard it's fucking
it would be
brutal. Yeah.
hard. That would be a hard thing to do. Like you have to have a side job. At that
Yeah,
point,
definitely.
for sure.
I had 3 jobs at one point out here, and it wasn't making a difference.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So
Like,
I've heard New
I
York
lived
is
in
worse.
Harlem and like merchandise for Saks. So like I lived like in the ghetto and
shit.
literally did like Saks windows like.
That's yeah.
Yeah, like
that's not nothing.
expenses,
Damn.
expensive as fuck.
It's
like,
expensive.
Yeah.
But did you
So-
always have some sort of longing for other things other than the fact that you couldn't just afford living there in the corporate structure? Was it because you also wanted to see different things and do different
I
things that
think
California.
always wanted to experience different things. I don't know if it's per se California, but I definitely want to travel more. Like going forward after the whole festival season, like I really, really want to travel. I don't know exactly where, but I'd like to travel until the next festival season. Honestly.
Did you do a lot of festivals back over there?
No.
No.
I didn't do a lot at all. I mean, like I went to a few when I was like younger, but it's not the same there.
Right.
Like the festival scene isn't honestly the same.
Well,
It's
to be
more
honest
like-
with
it's
you-
more like I want to be like it's more of a rave scene.
Well, that's
Yeah,
which
no,
definitely.
is totally different.
but that's a distinction here too, because there's still both of
That's-
those here.
that's very
There's
true.
the
That is
people
true.
here that like still just go to the raves, and nothing against it. Like we
No,
talked
no,
about
and
this on
it's
one of
just
our
very
podcasts.
different, yeah.
we've talked
Yeah.
about it on our podcast where it's like it's a difference of taste, and also in some cases growth, or I guess, or whatever. And
Exactly. And like in my younger years, you know, I was for that.
That's
But,
generally
like,
what we found is that that's kind of like that's your starting point, and then it
Yeah.
tends to evolve into
like thank God
where
for
we're
that.
now.
Like thank God for that, because you got that like brief taste of like
Yeah.
what it can be and what it should
Exactly.
be, and so that's where you go
got
with
a
it.
little taste, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to this.
Yeah.
So
It's like why I'm still amazed the Warped Tour is still around with like the same
know.
bands. And
That
stuff
is
like that,
a fucking good point.
Yeah.
Why is the Warped Tour?
and it's still the same age group.
yeah,
And they're going to grow out of
exactly.
it, and they're going to go to,
Yeah.
see,
And it's those generations
David
getting
Guetta,
older and older,
same
and,
fucking
you
people,
know,
and then
Yeah.
they'll be there eventually too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's progression, honestly.
So you came out here because of that, but also you had a different. You were also into culinary arts.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm a vegan. Melissa's actually a vegan too. And I've always been into cooking. I mean, when I was younger, so I decided to go vegetarian at 8. And
At
I-
8?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so okay, and
We all
I'm
were
curious
like,
about this.
what the fuck?
No,
'Cause we didn't know what it was.
I'm curious about this because
I find it
I
easy to
hear.
believe that you were like a strong, opinionated 8-year-old. So
Very strongly opinionated
This
8-year-old.
this like this eccentric fucking
I was just
precocious
like,
little
why do
8-year-old
we
is
have
like
pets?
it's like
why? I was like, I'm not eating animals then.
so it was because of that.
She would,
Oh.
my mom would like make her eat meatloaf and she would like spit it out. Like it was, I just viscerally remember her just being like, I'm not.
Because
gonna
you're
eat
not
it.
the first person or the only person that I've ever heard that had that, just like they just hated it from a young age. For me, it was like
understand it. Like I was.
I
Just
grew
like,
up on meat, and so I
Yeah,
love
I mean,
meat.
I ate it like all my life, and then once she went vegan, like a few years after she went vegan, I was like, I like woke up one morning and I was like, yeah, you're right, Em, it's dumb, and then I went vegan. Like we just were
It was
both like, all right,
literally out of
whatever.
nowhere.
Yeah.
But I was an 8-year-old. Like I in my head was just like, I don't get this. And like looking back on it, you know, I'm thankful, I guess, that I was an 8-year-old that thought.
God
that.
damn!
right?
How could you choose what you ate as an 8-year-old?
Like, to be fair,
that's why I still don't believe in object permanence.
to
I'm a
be fair,
very
like our
stubborn
parents
child.
were always like very honest. Like they weren't the parents that were like, "Oh no, you're not eating a pig." Like they were just like
They
very
told us.
honest. And like I think like I'm a very sensitive person, so I was just like, I don't get why I would eat this. Like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't want to eat this anymore. And honestly, like I'm really thankful that my parents were like for it, and they like supported me in it. And I think that's where like I started cooking a lot. And then like going forward into like my teenage years, I don't even.
Well, for a while, like when she was just a vegetarian, like she just ate cheese all the time.
Oh, I literally
and
lived
so
on
like,
cheese.
so when
Lived on
yeah,
cheese.
it was insane. Like my
That's
dad
so
and her
much
would
worse
buy like
than-
blocks of cheese and just eat cheese. It was
Yeah.
insane. But when like you
I
went
like
vegan,
love cheese more than like probably anyone.
yeah, it was it was
No,
really
I
incredible.
was a big
It up.
cheeseaholic until recently, until
Yeah,
I realized
like-
that was probably one of the main causes for all of my.
Oh no, I'll
fucking-
say with confidence that's like the main one.
Yeah,
Like-
that was like my main
like,
thing.
With every
Dairy-
meal with cheese and
dairy
booze, like
Yeah.
you need to.
Cheese, booze, and cheese.
Yeah.
And more
Really
cheese.
does get your stomach. Like
Yeah.
I will say that
Yeah.
as I'm going vegan, like honestly, like energy levels.
Yeah,
like, everything's
changes
so much higher.
all
Not that I'm
around.
like everybody should go vegan because it's not for
Well,
everybody.
Yeah.
you're
By
right,
any means.
exactly. Because here's the
Like-
thing is, and I'm one of those people that working in the restaurant industry. I used to talk shit and hate on the people that came in and it was just like on the gluten-free movement,
Oh,
you know,
God.
because
That
here,
sounds
let
terrible.
me just say,
I
let me
will
just
firmly
say,
back that up.
because I hated it, right? But here I am now at a point where I was like doing my research and thinking about, okay, what is it that's really affecting me in my day-to-day life? I cut out bread. I still have tortillas that are like flour tortillas that are not good for you or whatever.
So you didn't cut out bread.
Well, so
Gotcha.
The truth comes out.
Except for the fact that it's still not quite the same as having like slices of bread
Having
3
like a
times.
baguette.
I cut out
it's
bread
true,
made by
like-
the oppressor.
I'll have like tortillas on Tuesday.
Yeah,
when
having
it's
like
Taco
sprouted
Tuesday.
grain bread.
Tortilla
Like,
Tuesday.
okay.
Tortillas on Tuesday when it's Taco Tuesday, which is today. And
I have an all alliteration diet.
aside from having 2 slices of bread with each sandwich, and many times 2 sandwiches per meal, many times 3 times per day. So you add all those up.
Lot. Like, that's a lot of bread.
dude.
That's a half a loaf of bread. I'm
This
not
is
gonna lie.
this is the life of a fucking stoner. And so, but when you realize when you cut out bread too, you're naturally cutting out meat a lot, and you're cutting out cheese a lot. Because when do I eat cheese? Oh, I triple layer that shit on my fucking sandwiches. So that's when I have triple layers of cheese or whatever, because I just love that shit. But if you cut it all out and you're eating, now I make an effort to go and just buy broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots, and like you're like surprised after a while, like you're like, oh, I feel just as full.
Yeah,
And I feel just
Yeah.
as good.
Incorporating more
It's
fruits
fucking
and
weird.
vegetables is,
Yeah.
honestly, in my opinion, what everybody should do. But like, do what's best for your body, and like, you're gonna know, like, changing your diet, what feels.
When
best.
you actually feel the difference, you'll
Yeah.
know. And then that's when
Yeah.
it's hard to go back. That's when it's easy to stay on track.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's difficult as fuck. If you just do it for a couple days and you don't really go out and buy those things, you're still, because there are a lot of things that are passed off as health foods nowadays that are not good for you, and that's where it's really really tough. Like just like in politics too, and or not necessarily politics, but just sources of news where you inherit this news from. It's like, how do I trust these things? It's like the same thing with food. It's like, how do I trust where it's coming from? Well, you got to just keep doing your fucking research, and it's going to be a lot of trial and error until you figure out, like, okay, well, these people are full of shit, and then certain things will be exposed, because there's like a certain time period where like people can get away with lying to you. They can get away with lying
think about
blatantly
how
to you
long the
until like,
cigarette movement.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what we're talking about. Is this news or food?
No,
I like it.
yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same.
thing.
It's the same
Can we
shit.
assign a food to every like major cable news network?
Yeah.
Like Fox News is Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And CNN.
And then,
No.
But so
Fox
here's
News
the.
is like lean pockets.
Well, so-
They're making you think it's good for you.
No, but
it's just a bunch of lies.
But then there's that thing too, where you have those things
And
where
CNN's
you
like
know.
DiGiorno, like,
Yeah.
oh no, we're the good ones. It's like, no,
it's
No.
still fucking frozen
Yeah.
pizza.
Yes.
Don't be an asshole.
Exactly, because you know that it's bad for you, but you still are just like, no, I love it, I love it. It's just DiGiorno. It's just this one thing, It's and that's but what you're saying, it's like they
It's
try
not
to sell
delivery,
wheat bread
it's MSNBC.
as being decent
it's-
bread.
yeah,
it's still no, it's bread,
It's still
and it's
bread.
not
It's still
real bread. It's very rarely, if ever, real bread that they're making. It's all this fucking processed sugar.
And like, it's crazy to think, like, if you go into a regular food store and just like go down the aisles, you're like, oh my, like, look at all this processed food. Like, who is eating this?
And then you look at somebody's card and you're like, oh, that lady.
Like,
wow.
and that sounds
Okay.
terrible,
All
but
right.
like, you're just like, what is in that box? Like, you don't know.
It's insane, but like the majority of the people in the store are buying that because it's advertised, and it's like
Yeah,
it's advertised as good, and like it has one serving of vegetables that's not even a serving of vegetables, because like in all honesty, like we don't update things like this. We don't update like what like the Food Administration like tells us. We don't update the rules like that because it's just like not the important thing. Like it's not important to people. People don't care as long as they're full.
Well, today,
why do they care?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. And today at my
Right.
work too, I had these 2 guys that came in, and I was like, it's part of my job to talk to them and find out what they do and like what they're into. And they happened to both be here because they're both, and they said it in like kind of euphemisms, but like they were just like saying, yeah, basically we make processed foods for people.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, oh, cool. So you guys are the reasons why, like, people continue. And I can't pinpoint just those 2. Like, I couldn't be like that person that's like, hey.
And like you can't blame those
yeah.
people. It's their job.
There's
like
it's
it's
a whole
how they make money.
I'll put them
And
on
also,
blast.
like, I mean,
Adam and Gary. Yeah, fuck you guys.
At Adam and Gary.
Yeah,
Well,
really though, ultimately, my whole thing is it's more up to us than anybody.
Exactly.
It really is
it's
more
up to the
up to us,
consumer. It's
the
up to the people
consumer.
buying it.
Yes.
Because even like with like more people becoming like vegans and vegetarians, like there's just a lot less meat being produced. And that's because of the people buying it.
Right.
And like the majority of the population won't know that, but like we know that because we like are like reading those things and we are keeping updated on those things. But it's the consumer buying those products, which is so important for like consumers to just like know what they're buying and just care about that and care about their bodies and how they feel with what they're buying.
And what you're putting into your body is the fuel that you are living off of.
So if you feel like shit,
that's
you're probably not
crazy-
eating great.
Okay, so but here's the
that's
thing.
what you have to remember.
Here's the
You start
thing.
talking
too.
Taco Bell over here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying like we don't
Yeah.
eat perfect.
No,
by any means. Like,
I've been eating like shit recently. I mean, I'm in like runs for a show right now, and like Oreos are vegan, and guess what? I'm eating fucking Oreos, and that doesn't make my digestive system feel good. So like, it's just like it's what it is. But at the same time, like once I'm done this, I will definitely care more about what I'm eating.
Yeah. So, all right. This is we're starting to see maybe some of the problems of doing 2 shows in one night because we start drinking in the first one, and then by the second one we're just like, oh yeah.
Nobody gives a
We're
shit. At this
we're having a
point.
good
It's
time
fine.
over here.
rather this show be like
Exactly.
for sure.
Oh man. So yeah, no, that's I remember what it was like, when I decided I went vegetarian for a year. And I remember thinking like, oh, I don't like screaming coming from down the hall while he's trying to go to the bathroom there. We're gonna put him on blast. We're not gonna pretend like that's not happening right now. But yeah, no, I remember like just pushing through that first, originally it was gonna be like 1 week just to see how it felt, and then I was like, oh, this feels good. And I remember being astonished after the first day that I didn't have chicken 3 times a day, that I was like, oh, I still feel just as satisfied and just as good. And I was like, damn, this is kind of a crazy concept. So I went a full year kind of without messing with meat at all.
Which is a great period of time to do things for. Like when people say like month-long diets, your body's not going to know the fucking difference.
Yeah.
In a year, you're going to be able to look back on that and be like, this is how my body felt during that time.
Yeah, no, I felt
Exactly,
great all
yeah.
the time. It kind of like got rid of all like just being tired at like 2 p.m. I'm like, okay, like I didn't feel it anymore. I
think
could go a
about,
whole
like,
day
your-
without taking a nap. I
Yeah,
felt so adult.
Your body is digesting so much more.
Yeah.
When you're eating meat, like.
That's when I finally
whether-
started to take all this
whether
stuff
that's
seriously.
Good, bad, in your opinion, like your body is digesting more. Like it
Yeah.
Just
has
taking
to
your
try
energy,
harder.
which is taking energy that you could use to like do shit and like enjoy your life.
Absolutely.
To digest meat. That's
so
what it's doing.
Even though I'm not a vegetarian anymore, I still take a lot of those things that I learned and like those concepts, and I still
Which is-
apply them to
yeah.
my life. I eat a lot less meat than I used to,
Exactly.
and now I'm still worried about gut health. And so I'm like, okay, every morning, got probiotics, get kombuchas and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
I could go on.
And I know that's
talk to you about
counterintuitive to
gut
the
health.
hurricane that I'm drinking right now, but still,
Yeah.
like just
I learned a
being
lot about
aware
it.
of that, like you're making a difference.
And
Like,
even when
you know?
I fucked it up too, because I started getting a little bit complacent and lazy. I'm so busy with other stuff because I've never been a big food person, I've never thought oh, I can't wait for this meal or that. It was always an inconvenience. Soylent, that stuff that they have now, it's just oh, this has all the basic nutrients that you need. Just eat it in
which
one
is
bar
crazy.
and you're good for the day. I'm like, I need that right now because eating is an
I feel like I
inconvenience.
can't do that. I feel
No,
like
food is very important to Emily and I.
I eat a lot of food.
We eat a lot of food, and she has a much better metabolism than I have. But food is vastly important to us.
Me too. I feel
It's
you.
so important. So the stereotype of vegans that don't really eat food, that is not real.
Blatant lie.
It's a blatant lie. I don't know who the fuck those people are, but we eat a lot of food.
Stuffed. Oh my god.
Well, here's the thing though, too. You can still be vegan and eat shitty.
Yeah, no, that's what we were talking
yeah,
about. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I found out
Yeah.
during my journey of a year of going vegetarian. I was like, oh, I'm just eating bean and cheese taquitos from Trader Joe's. And then I realized, oh shit, I'm actually not healthy anymore.
Exactly.
I stepped on we were fucking around, somebody brought a scale into the house. And I stepped on it, I'm like, oh, I'm down 15 pounds. I was down 15 pounds. I'm like, that's not, I don't have 15 fucking pounds to lose. You can fucking see me right now.
And the other thing
I
is,
was like, okay,
aside,
I need to bring meat back into this shit.
well, aside from the moral implication, the moral negative sides of eating meat that people might have is that it can actually be really healthy for you to eat the proper meat very little at certain times and eat
very
it
true.
when it's
It has a place in our
Again,
diet.
it matters on your body. It matters on what you
exactly.
need.
Because as a society, the reason why it's bad is because we typically eat, and I was eating meat with every single meal,
which is
all the time,
crazy if
every
you think
time,
about it.
because it's like we're the consumers and we're like super greedy, and so we're just constantly eating. And it's like when you eat a breakfast, you're gonna eat the loaded breakfast. It's like, what? You're just gonna have eggs and hash browns? No, you gotta have the omelet with the fucking, not only just the fucking steak, but you gotta have the chicken, the turkey,
And all of this
Yeah,
goes
that's
back to a
literally the
very
society that we live
successful.
in.
All this goes back to a very successful marketing campaign, like in the '60s, to make bacon and eggs like breakfast. It's like, what the fuck is breakfast? There's nothing.
Those are
natural.
two fried things. Like it's like a fried
Yeah.
egg and then fried
But
bacon.
god damn, it feels
Like,
good.
No. I understand. Like, truthfully, I mean, when I first went vegan, my father was like, Melissa, you would eat bacon every morning. You would like all of these things, and it's like, yeah, but like,
It sounds like you had to come out to your dad as vegan.
truthfully,
it's
no.
the same thing as
I've
that-
had to come out to my dad multiple times in my life, and that was just one of the occasions.
That was the hardest one.
But
yeah.
like, it truly was the hardest. It truly was the hardest one.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, he like food was a very important thing, I guess, with me and my father, and like we would eat like clams on the boat and stuff like that, like weird shit.
It's so
that, like,
funny.
when I went vegan, like it was like
This is so serendipitous that you're saying this because I have two references to The Simpsons right now. So my buddy showed me. I'm wearing this fucking gorilla shirt, and my buddy showed me this like video of The Simpsons to Feel Good Inc., where he was talking about the steamed clams episode with Seymour and fucking the superintendent Chalmers, and he's just like steamed clams, doon 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 doon, steamed clams, doon 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 doon. It's steamed hams, but originally they were supposed to be eating steamed clams, and then his kitchen burned down, so he goes across the street to the fucking Krusty Burger, and he gets the cheeseburgers, and he's like steamed hams. But then the other thing was what were we talking about right now? Whereas Homer Simpson's like, he's like, the scene starts off as long as you're living under my roof, under my rules, you will do as I say. Now butter up that bacon, boy. And you just see Bart Simpson like, ooh, like all it's like that's the way it is. Like your family kind of looks like you weird. Like you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
When
like,
I told my mom I was going vegan, which I was 19 years old,
no. I remember when
My
was
mom
pissed.
cried.
I was pissed.
cried hysterically.
Because that was one of the first. That was like when
Your
that was
family
one
doesn't
of the,
have problems.
Oh
man.
yes.
That's crazy.
She's crazy.
But before,
love you, Mom.
you became vegan like probably a week before we like were going out to
But
California.
to be fair,
actually.
like we lived on the East Coast, and
Oh, they're like, oh god, they got her already.
back then, but like it was a long
a
time.
lot
ago.
of time, a lot
It
of
was,
things
like,
have
very,
happened
very
in a
different.
very
Yeah.
short
A
amount
lot
of
of
time.
things have happened,
Yes.
and like the West Coast is very more progressive than the East Coast is. Like I remember, like not like I could only go to Whole Foods to buy food. Like there was like nothing that I could buy
Yeah.
at the grocery store.
And
it
like
was-
we didn't know about it. Like I remember being like very confused because not only did you go vegan, but my one of my best friends at the time was also vegan, and I was so confused. I was like, why are these people doing this? This is so stupid. Like it makes no sense. Milk isn't hurting anybody. Like I like didn't understand anything that was going on because it was that like hidden from everybody. Like it was not talked about at all. When you think about it now, like everybody like knows. Like the majority of people now know that like cows have to be pregnant to give milk, which was like not a known concept.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know that.
it's like,
But I don't drink milk. I don't drink milk. I don't like cream. I just
whatever,
recently
whatever.
learned I'm probably lactose.
You learn new things every day.
like I was just like, wow, I didn't know how did you not like.
You just don't think about this shit that's so obvious.
Here's the
to
thing
you.
that I will tell you that will make you fucking laugh your fucking faces off, okay? So I was like, where do you think pickles come from? I was like, I don't know. The pickle fucking farm? like you're gonna go at the red hot fucking pickle people, like you go pick it off a pickle tree or something like that. I had no idea that pickles were just cucumbers that were fucking vinegarized.
You can make your own goddamn pickles.
No, I didn't know that. And this is the thing is because we don't know, because to me, pickles was just the thing that I didn't want to touch ever. Like, they taste gross. It's vinegar. It's nasty. It's whatever.
We bought a pickle
Yeah.
at Disney yesterday.
Yeah,
Not
it's like,
gonna lie.
You know, and that goes to the whole white
That's
people
the
thing.
weirdest fucking thing. Yeah, okay, everybody's being beat me to it. I feel like I've trained
it's
you
the
guys.
white, it's
and
the
now
white people thing.
I can just trust that you guys are gonna call it out before I do.
Because like all of our friends, we have this thing with like the whiskey picklebacks, right? So they all pour whiskey and they take pickles and drink
Fucking
picklebacks
gross.
with their whiskey, and I'm like, no, just give me the whiskey, leave the pickleback behind. I don't like that. I don't like picklebacks. I don't like pickles on my burgers. You know why? Because I like the cheese. I like the meat. I like the. I just
Don't
can't.
like the
I
vegetables.
just came around to liking the lettuce and the tomato, and you're gonna make me eat the pickle now? Get the fuck out of here!
Too much.
Fuck you and your pickle. That's fucking ridiculous. Give me the fucking cheese and the burger and the bun. Although I will say I haven't had a regular burger with a bun in over 2.5 months.
I feel like I just like pushed you into like relapsing. Like I feel
God.
horrible.
No, you're not.
I'm like,
I've
wow, you
never
can just
eaten a
take,
burger
you
in
just
my
take
life.
one
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
I'm for right now temporarily under the illusion that tortillas aren't bad for you. So I'm like, okay,
get that.
it's fine.
That's like truthfully not the worst thing though.
You know what?
Yeah.
There's
You realize the
sprouted-
obesity rate in Mexico
there's
is like as
sprouted-
bad as ours, right?
No,
There's
that's because they
sprouted
use
grain
straight
tortillas.
lard
Yes,
for their meat and
yeah.
everything.
We
That's
get
the difference.
sprouted
And it's
grain
fucking
tortillas.
bomb, man. Respect
Yeah.
your history.
I think that's the way to go. I've personally never eaten beef in my life. Like I would never eat it
For
as
a
child.
while,
Well, you're
for a
like
while,
I've personally never eaten a hamburger.
for a while, she only ate chicken before she became a vegetarian because she hated chickens.
I'm just
She hated chicken so much that she would only eat chickens.
They're dicks. They're velociraptors.
They-
like
I
they
want-
kind of deserve it.
They still terrify me.
She
I'm
got
with
her
you.
like feet pecked by chickens when
Have
she
you
was
ever
a
been
young
to Kauai?
child.
What?
If you ever go to Kauai,
I went to Cuba and I freaked out.
oh, so
I used
okay,
to chase
same,
away
same,
pigeons because she doesn't like birds that much. When I was like,
I lived in
and
New
I'm
York,
4
though,
years
and
younger
don't
than
like
her,
that.
and I would chase away pigeons from her when she
You know
was
what's-
like 10.
It's just scary. Like you don't know what they're gonna do.
Wait, how many pigeons were surrounding you to where somebody had to chase
Well,
them
in New
off?
York, there's a shit ton of pigeons.
lot.
Like if you're like
Yeah.
sitting there eating food, the pigeons are all like, hey, 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 hey.
You see it in like
And
any
so, like,
movie
yeah.
ever,
Jesus
ever
Christ.
exists. Pigeons exist.
There's a lot of
there.
pigeons.
But like Puerto Rico for especially, and I imagine Cuba.
Yeah.
Like from when my friend went to Puerto Rico, I was like, this looks so much like when I went to Kauai, and there's like so much of like the same type of tropical landscape and Kauai. The very interesting thing about that island is that during one of the hurricanes, because they had all these farms with chickens everywhere,
Yeah.
they fucking just spread all these chickens fucking everywhere. So there's like wild chickens roaming around
Terrifying.
all
Yeah,
over the place.
terrifying.
So I thought to myself, I was like, dude, if I ever want to become homeless, I could just go and fucking like just hunt these fucking, because they're literally walking
could
everywhere.
just grab
And it's
your
again
eggs.
like nobody fucks with them.
Yeah.
They're just doing their thing. It's like,
I mean, I wouldn't fuck with the chicken.
I remember going to Kauai for the first time and it's just like, oh, there's fucking, is that somebody's chicken? Like, nah, they just hang out.
No,
Like,
that's just-
what?
That's the neighborhood.
but I also
But they're little monsters too. Like they eat
They're
eat animals.
scary.
They're meat eaters too. They'll fucking like find rats and just fuck them up, dude. They
is
are
why
that.
I'm scared
They're
of them.
velociraptors.
This is why I'm
That's
Velociraptors
why she ate
became
them
chickens.
for so long.
I ate them. This is like
And-
the only.
It was ridiculous. Like she literally, people would be like, "Oh, well, what do you eat?" And she's like, "Well, the only meat I eat is chicken." And they're like, "Well, why?" And she's like, "Well, I hate chickens."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
It was-
that.
I was like, and then I was
I
like,
like that
have
it
to
comes
get
from a
this out.
personal vendetta against chickens.
It was literal. That was how she was, and she was a young child too, so it was a little scary. Like,
I have
why?
I have a long-standing grudge with dolphins, and I'm thinking this is maybe the next
Dolphins?
evolution.
Studying
Yeah.
dolphins.
Well, speaking of a personal thing, is
Can you
my
eat
whole
like,
view
who
on
has
that
eaten
is
dolphins?
whether you need to or whether you don't. If you can get by without needing to eat certain things, then you can do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
morally. But like, let's say if shit were to hit the fan for whatever reason, or if we were just in a much more minimal state, like because I come from a very Native American background where people used to do that, and they used to utilize every fucking thing that they did, hunted, fished, everything. Like the whole catch and release thing for fish is weird to me because that's just torture. It's like what? Like
It's
you're
truly
torturing
very
this fish.
weird.
It's
It is
really weird. It's super weird. It's like if you don't catch it and eat it, then what's the point of fishing in the first place? It's super strange to me. The same thing with like trophy hunting for animals. It's like because I grew up with a bunch
Somebody
of
should get them Netflix. Like, what the fuck?
well, yeah, but
That's
like,
not even. It's not even that fun. That's what they do out there. Is they
play
fish.
a board
I'm like,
game.
yeah, come on.
please.
well, you know.
Play a board game on the boat. Right?
I like. Yeah, I'm starting a campaign to just send them like Cards Against Humanity. You know, just be like, just do something more productive with your time.
So they could play with their wife,
Torturing
their
fish.
one wife every day. I don't
with
know.
their multiple wives. I don't know.
I mean, but you know,
I don't understand the rest
We
of
don't
it.
know. We don't know what boaters do.
Right. And the
Living in my
thing
little elite bubble.
Yeah. It's like I understand where they're coming from because they're doing it in the way that's like, okay, less reliance on companies to say whether this meat, because I get sketchy. It's like I see a thing my parents buy like Kirkland eggs. It's cage-free organic. I'm like, Kirkland is doing cage-free organic? Like what?
Yo, they
like,
can straight up lie to you though.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it
that's what I
doesn't
mean.
matter.
But that's what I mean. So like,
Yeah.
how do you really truly know
You don't.
exactly
You don't.
what
So
you're
you just
getting
kind of
is
have to
organic
take it in
or
your
not?
own
Yeah.
hands. And
Yeah.
once people start taking more things into their own hands, then companies have to start changing and start actually having to be like honest, because people are being like, well, I'm not going to buy that because I know it's not fucking true.
Well, but that's the thing is though, like, so if they're saying that's true, how do I?
Commerce has always driven like the most social change in this country because we worship capitalism, and the only way to get people to do anything is to just vote with your wallet. You
But
know?
with that,
True.
yeah,
And
exactly.
that's why
I agree.
That's why at the end of the day, I'm vegan.
I
Because,
agree.
like,
And I
feel
promote
that's making the most
veganism
change.
and vegetarianism because I think environmentally that is the like number one contributing factor is factory farming. It's not only is
it's
it
crazy.
it's morally abhorrent, but it's one of the biggest contributors to all of the problems with climate change and stuff like that.
But do you
produce so much
do
methane
you
gas.
not eat meat though?
I cut back on it. I do. No, I contribute to it. But hey, if
So,
if you're going to,
where, my question is not to bash you, but where do you get the source of like what's good meat or what's bad? Because to me, it's about what's the meat that's not processed and injected with hormones, and what meat is actually. Because for me, like my personal belief is like, from a Native American standpoint too, it's like we regenerate everything. Mm-hmm. Everything is being recycled back into the earth. As long as you're utilizing it, as long as you're not killing something just to kill it, and you're actually taking it and moving it into something that's going to keep this thing going, this machine going for the better.
Definitely.
That's great. But
personally,
what?
I have no problems with hunting.
Right.
yeah,
And I know you
I
do.
think
Yeah.
think it's great.
Like
Totally.
if yeah.
Totally. But
For sure. If you're gonna go out and
my
actually
question is,
kill
how do
whatever
you
you eat,
really?
And then eat all of that and like use that
No.
for
Yeah.
like
you do it.
like
To
then do
control
that.
populations because we have science, we have more knowledge than that. We can actually keep things under control and generate meat through hunting. If I could snap my fingers, that's the only way we'd have stuff. You know, because I'm cool with having meat once a week.
But
you know?
how do you determine? Is for sure. Because we don't work for these companies. We don't know. Like, so there can be these companies that come out and say these things like, well, this is organic. This is not. Like,
And that's
how
a
do you
crazy
know?
thing.
You can't.
To be organic, you only have to be 70% organic. To be labeled organic.
Right, or to say cage free, that means that you just don't have a back door on these
Exactly.
fucking cages.
And
That
there's
means-
so many books that I've read.
Yes,
that
cage
just,
free.
like,
Nicolas Cage has never been on the
insane.
property.
It's literally.
I have never watched a
Exactly.
movie of his. We keep this entire farm cage free. Okay, Con Air,
like,
get that
these
shit the
chickens
fuck
do not
out of
know
here.
that name.
But like,
Yeah,
So-
it's crazy.
But-
it's crazy what they get away with.
It is
honestly.
crazy. And, I encourage every single person out there to go and look up their
Just be
own shit
informed,
and to be
yeah.
informed as much as you can and to just to understand where you're getting your shit from.
yeah, that's why like farmers markets and things like that are like is so important. Like if you can literally like go up to the person that made those things, you can look into their eyes and be like, no, this person's bullshitting me right now. And the majority of the time they're not. They're just gonna tell you what they did and like this is how they made it and stuff like that. And that's why things like that are so important. One thing, it's a human connection. Two, it like gives you something that's like actually like you know where it's coming from, you know what's going on.
Farm too.
Yeah. And that's like the most important thing. It cuts out all that corporation and like it's important. And if you have access to that, you should try to do it. If you have access, you have the funds to
And
do that.
most of the time, it's gonna be cheaper anyway.
Yeah, because
Like,
I
in
mean,
all honesty.
like you're cutting out the middleman there. Like
Yeah.
you really are. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about the food industry, which is not intentionally what I've been trying to talk about for a long time, but it's great because I love it because it's helping me.
And we could
But-
talk about it for hours.
Absolutely, we can go on forever about it. But my whole thing is because you have a fascinating story, and I'm sure you do too. But you have a fascinating story about how you came here
Yeah.
on a whim just because you wanted some change, and you met with Cindy.
Yes. So I Airbnb'd with Cindy.
Uh-huh.
Lovely girl. And basically, while I was there, her and Kimberly, which I don't think you've ever met Kimberly.
No, I don't think I have.
Basically, they convinced me to go to Burning Man with them, and this was about 3 weeks before Burning Man was like about to happen.
That's a
like,
fucking
okay.
huge thing to commit to.
I was like, okay, well, I didn't have anything going on. I was like,
was
you
great.
know? And like honestly, I was coming to realize and not that the fashion industry it's about the money in any way, but I came to realize like, okay, merchandising here, like if I do that, even if it's not full, like whatever capacity that is, like I'm not gonna make nearly as much money as I made in New York. And I was like, you know what, it's not something that I really want to do. That's what I was doing there, and I really wanted to do something that made a difference in whatever capacity that was. So I just had that kind of in the back of my head. I luckily had money saved, so I was okay. I was okay to go to Burning Man and experience that. So, I mean, luckily I went. I honestly ended up going for 2 weeks. I actually helped the camp set up, and I met lovely Hunter there. And, we connected and everything, and we went on a road trip afterwards for about 3 weeks, and then we went back to visit you on the East Coast.
That's fucking right, dude. That guy is so insane because he was with us after or before that. He came on our show before, either after.
He was before. It was before.
Oh, that's right. Right before
for
Burning
sure.
Man.
Yeah.
So that was even before. Like, and at that point, he had already been on this like.
Yeah, he went on a
extreme
crazy
high.
adventure.
Like he went on to the India thing and just did all that shit. Like Hunter's one of the guys. Not to sidetrack too much away from your story, but like he's one of those guys that like I just knew that it was like. Just so fucking just down to earth. They'll let things happen as they come, and they gracefully just fell into his lap in every which way. And it still happens all the time.
No, and that's,
it's like one of the greatest things. It's like he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I just had this person give this to me, or I just like was able to do this and that. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck?
Sure.
How does that happen to people? Like, what?
No, and I mean, I don't want to be like he's lucky because like he rightfully deserves everything.
No, he's a go-getter.
But yeah,
he's
exactly.
absolutely
He
a
goes
go-getter.
after what he wants, and that's really what's important. And in a lot of ways, like I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's me manifesting it or not, like. In the long run, you are going to get what you put out to the universe. And, like,
you reap what you sow, and is what you're saying, like, it is. But, it's one of those things of the attitude, too. I think that the mental aspect of it is, like, very, very important. Like, I'm overly optimistic nowadays as compared to what I used to be.
And you have to be. Like,
you should be.
Especially,
because
like,
that's
going into a new situation. Like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Because if you're overly optimistic, you're going to manifest those thoughts. Like, your thoughts become your ideas. What's
become
the
your
fucking,
reality. I mean,
what's
they
the
do.
quote that they fucking say with Lasso or I don't know who it is, but
I mean, basically, your ideas become your reality.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Your thoughts become your reality.
The more you think about things and the more you realize about them, they become your reality.
Yeah.
And so, like, you came over here and you went
Latsu, Oprah. I mean, who knows?
you get a Burning Man ticket. You get a Burning Man ticket. You all get a Burning Man ticket.
Yes.
Everybody gets a Burning Man. You go to Burning Man. You meet Hunter. You guys are doing your thing. And when did the Elixir Bar come into this play?
So the Elixir Bar, we were in Nevada City, and we actually went into Elixir Art. And I remember like saying to Hunter, I was like, this is a great idea. I was like having all these elixirs, and they had like a lot more. They had like a little bit, not saying like our elixirs aren't healthy by any means, because they are, but I mean they had like a lot of different kinds, like probably like 20 maybe on their menu.
Holy shit.
And like, I mean, obviously, like, we had our favorites, and the people we were with were like, oh yeah, these are the good ones, these are the good ones. And we were just like, this is a great idea. Like, we've never been in a bar situation where you weren't drinking. I mean, other than kava bars that exist far and few between, I mean, and again, they only have kava. There's not really a bar setting that you can be in where you're not served alcohol.
That's
and
right.
we thought it was just such a great thing. And, there they had, like, dancing at different places, and, like, everybody would literally go to Elixir Art and then go dancing, and it was great. So, we really, like, followed this idea, and I know we, like, brought it up to you when we were back on the East Coast. We were like,
we had many ideas.
Yeah, we
brought
were,
up
like,
many
rolling.
ideas.
And that's how me and Hunter are.
And
like,
that's how Emily has always been. I mean, she is somebody that has made many changes in her life, has made many, like, different adventures. And so, like, every time she has an idea, I'm always like, yes, Em. yes, fantastic, I love it.
And I
do
thank
it.
you for being
yes,
supportive.
Of course. Like, and like, so I never know if anything's actually gonna come of anything, but like, this was a really great idea. And at first I was a little skeptical. Skeptical, of course, because I mean, she's my sister, and like, I want to make sure that she's successful and she's taken care of and that she's good. And once like things started coming together and everything, and then like, I actually got to try, like, the only one I've tried so far is kava, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And like all of it, like, I was like, this is great. And the knowledge that she had behind it, which
We
is
had
so
a Kava
important.
Christmas.
We did. My mother freaked the
Y'all
fuck
know
out.
how much I like about
I gave my
kava.
father a Kava. I was like, Dad, drink this.
He had like 2 shots of it, I think.
And
We
he's
drank
over
like
it.
all
He's
of it,
like,
and he was like, "I can't. This tastes like eraser shavings." And we were like,
playing Scrabble, and he was like, I can't do this.
we were so about it though, and
So,
it's great.
Yeah, I love it because that's the thing about people. They're always like, "Oh, this isn't anything." I'm like, you have to drink more than just one. It's like weed for the first time. You might not get high for the
exactly.
first time you smoke it. You gotta try a little bit more, and you gotta try a lot of
and
so for
also,
me,
like, your
it's like I try a lot of kava, a lot of sass, a lot of crap, all at the same
And
time.
it's great.
No, it is. You know, the best part about it is that like I went to work after the very first event, right? 'Cause, during the very first event when they were doing it, that I went to their at the Central Park.
Yeah.
When they were trying it out for the Elixir Bar, and so I was like, "Fuck, I gotta go work." So I was drinking all this shit, and I was just like going, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm drunk, and I'm getting to work," and I'm like, because I've done this before, obviously with alcohol. And I'm like, I'm gonna experience the worst come down from this as possible. No come down.
It's just fucking
Nothing.
natural.
The next day, woke up
Yeah,
completely energized,
exactly.
charged 100%. I'll take some of that.
As your lawyer, I'm advising against that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case. So, anyways,
I know we're wrapping up the show soon.
we're wrapping
I
up
know
the
you gotta
show
go
right
home.
now. So, what I'm trying to
I'm hearing all
ask-
those slur words, and I'm going, nope.
So what
Cutting
I
you
will
off.
ask you is there any advice that you have for people, whether they're on the West Coast or the East Coast or any coast of any kind, for traveling and just taking a risk to go somewhere that they're not used to going?
I mean, you should always say that. Like, I mean,
But
if
like,
you-
what would be your main concerns for that?
concerns.
Like,
I mean,
things that you gotta
make
tackle.
sure that like, you're gonna live okay. Like, you're not gonna be homeless. But like, if
But how do
If
you
that's-
determine that? What was your determination for that? Like, what was the thing that was like, okay, I can do this?
Emily has always been fine no matter where she has gone.
yeah, which
There
like,
has
sounds-
never been a time I've been concerned about her finding a place to live.
Yeah, I always figure it out, and I think Hunter in a lot of aspects is the same way. Like, we're gonna always figure it out, and I think that's you have to have that mindset. If you're gonna do something crazy, you have to know like it's gonna be great at the end.
He does have
You know?
that shit.
Even if you don't
Like,
have
Like,
everything
always
you
planned.
can't plan everything. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. I didn't know I was
No,
gonna
you
go to
can't.
Burning Man. I didn't know all of that was gonna happen. Did I know I was gonna own an Elixir Bar? No. But again, I was open to that happening. I wasn't against it, and I didn't have an exact plan. If I came here with an exact plan, that would have never happened.
But is there
So-
is there a certain amount of money that people should have saved just in case?
I
or
mean,
like-
I would be able to live for probably like 2 months. Like, I mean, if you're gonna move somewhere, I would at least know that you could do that, and know that you could come back somewhere,
Right.
wherever that is, if that's at your parents.
yeah,
if
I
So
would
that's-
say if
just,
you don't,
just
like,
the
know that-
basic fundamental,
Exactly.
like have the enough to get to and from.
Also, if you're gonna be homeless, I mean, California isn't a bad place. So
Yeah, true.
I mean, comparatively to New York, not saying that I would try to do that, but again, like, if you're going to an island, depending on where you're at, like, sometimes, I mean, having a tent,
There's plenty of chickens on Kauai.
yeah.
you
There
know?
you go,
If you're gonna be homeless,
and
like
I think positivity
might
is
as
so
well
much
go
to
with
do.
fucking two-piece
definitely.
meals walking around
Positivity,
everywhere,
and just knowing that everything's gonna work out in the end.
Positivity, absolutely. I used to be a very negative person. My
Me
life
too.
is exponentially better that I'm a positive person with less
Exactly, yeah.
resources and funds.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like
that's
it's
all you
a,
need.
it's a
If
billion
you're
times
happy,
better.
everything in life is going to work out.
Absolutely. Because happiness is not about how much money you have in your
No.
bank account.
It's about waking up in the morning and being like, this is fucking great. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm living how I want to live,
Those
and
studies-
not how people are expecting
And like
me
at
to
the end
live.
of the day, like, you're human. Like, you get to experience life being human,
The-
and that's
The most
something that some
interesting
people
study I've ever heard is that, or one of the most, if I can recall the most interesting, but it is in Japan, they have the most depressed people in the world in like Tokyo.
Yeah.
And then they have in Okinawa, supposedly, the most happy people in the world. because they just have nothing else to care for. They're Japanese sea gardens that they go and fucking care for, and that's it.
Exactly.
And so it just gives you that contrast of life. You know, it's like, hey, it's here it is. You know, you have this crazy city, this nonsense, and this LA shit that can be devastating, or you can find the beauty in it. You can find the romanticism. And I find that most people that come here from out of state find that romanticism in LA.
Yeah,
more so than LA people.
Exactly. You're looking through it through clear eyes.
Right.
Versus, this is what you grew up with.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I thank you I thank you guys so much. And I'm slurring my words. This is the second podcast that I drank
That's a pretty impressive amount.
I drank the majority of your wine and my vodka.
Go for it.
And
you're gonna have the rest, you know?
I did have the rest, actually. It's already gone. And so we're wrapping this up now. Is there anything else that you would like to just say real briefly?
Advice to young travelers, anything like that.
Live your life to the fullest, honestly. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true.
Cliches are true.
It's true.
They are true.
They got that way for a reason.
And just be positive. Like, truly, just be positive. Wake up every morning and just try to do what is like the best.
Oprah the fuck out of every day.
I love it.
Coming from a negative person, a real negative person, try to be positive.
You're not a negative person. You're just a person that chooses to express the positivity when it's right.
Exactly.
This is me euphemizing the shit out of it because I fucking that's the way I am.
He's so optimistic. He's making up words euphemizing.
Yeah.
And fuel your body with good food.
We're all
exactly.
There's a good meme I want to post to the Let It Be podcast with on Danny Glover on. It's like,
you mean at Let It Bleedcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram?
That's the one. That's the one.
There you go.
Okay.
I've been meaning to post that for a while.
Tell me more.
That's the one with Danny Glover, where he's like talking to him on Atlanta. And he's like, "You just made that up," and he's like, "We all made this shit up. Stay woke, motherfucker."
Okay,
he's like,
Donald Glover, but close enough.
Yeah, he's like, "Everything's made up, motherfucker. Stay woke."
Yeah, that's Lakeith
what is life,
Stanfield.
really?
What is life? It's
Yeah.
all made up. This is
Shout
all
out
made
to
up.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Thank you for having
where
us.
can
Yeah,
we?
this was great.
Other than the fucking Elixir Bar.
We've
for
had so many
Emily.
times with the Elixir Bar. I'm sure everybody
Knows where
already
that's at.
knows by this point, but let's shout them out one more time.
Elixir.
How are we gonna find you
Elixir
guys?
Bar and on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
But it's the Elixir
And
Bar.
what about you guys individually? So they can follow your own endeavors.
Emily Fuhr on Instagram.
How do you
and
spell it?
FU.
Fuhr.
There you go.
Melissa.
Mine. Okay, I had to
Oh, wait,
change
is yours
it.
different?
Yeah, mine's different now. It's just I don't have my last name on there anymore for reasons.
You don't do
but-
the Fuhr.
Nobody can spell it. Also,
it's now cats _ crafts _ girls, and that's what it
Cats,
is.
crafts, girls.
Yeah, exactly. Just my three
Bravo.
favorite
That's
things.
my favorite one that I've heard in so long.
And there's just Melissa. So follow me if you want to. I don't post crazy things, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But yeah,
Go for it.
Yeah,
But
go
we're
for it.
here
What
for the
else?
Elixir Bar. That's
Yeah,
right. And of course, while you
exactly.
guys are at it, be sure and follow us on social media as Mr. Hoodrat stuff just alluded to. Of course, that's it at Let It Bleedcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where we're posting all sorts of new fun stuff. And I know I've told you guys to do that before, but you know what? I was lying when I said it was fun. Now it's fun. I promise. I am telling you guys the truth because we are putting 1,000% more energy into it. And of course, you can follow my man Dave here at Hoodrat Stuff with 3 F's on the end of that on Instagram.
Because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things. Hood that stuff with your friends.
And if you want to follow his friends that are doing bad things, such as myself, you guys can always check me out at Nobody Cares Phil on Instagram and at Phil Nobody Cares on Twitter, where I'm posting all sorts of jokes and memes and making conservatives mad. And then,
Best thing to do.
of course, lastly but not leastly, please do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. At Let It Bleed. All right, you're listening to the show now. You're smart enough to have figured it out then. So make sure to show us all the love you can on, iTunes, Stitcher, Slacker, Freshner. All the popular ones. I don't know what the kids fucking do is. All yeah, make sure and leave us 5 blurfs on Dirkadur and 5 harnish and harder. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, we're very popular in Sweden, so I gotta give a shout out to them. Yeah, but no, please comments, share us around. We're having fun over here.
Follow Sweden at Sweden.
Well, you know what? Every single person that tuned in tonight, thank you very much. We love you all. And as always, let it bleed.